All right, everybody. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes and give you guys a walkthrough on the best ways to do refills for your patients. So, a lot of times we'll have prescribed a formula for someone and things are going really well, and it's time to actually just refill it, right? But lo and behold, the three refills that we initially put on the formula have expired or the patient has used them all. But the formula is going really great and we just want to extend it. For a long time, we didn't have the ability to easily update the number of refills on a formula, and so we had to resubmit the order again. Same name, same ingredients, same patient, but just another order, right? And what ends up happening if you do that is you end up with redundant or multiple orders of the same formula that show up in the patient's account, where they'll have two, three, four, five lines in their account for the same formula. In addition to that, by submitting orders over and over again into our software system, it actually increases our costs as well because there's a charge for every order that comes through the system. And so we are trying to get everyone to roll out and understand the process of using a more streamlined refill process. So what that means is if you wanted to refill a formula, let's take a look at one of our model patients here. We've got our patient Kermit the Frog. So we're going to take a look at his account. So let's say you've got Kermit. He's really been enjoying his formula and he needs more refills, right? So we're going to go to his dashboard patient profile here, and along the top templates we have, or the top menus here, we have manage refills. So we're going to go into manage refills and we're going to find the formula that he's been really loving. So he's got this formula here, this immune booster salvia type. Now I can see just by looking here that he hasn't used any of his refills yet, and it's still got a long time to go before it expires. But he's been loving it so much that we want to make sure he's got lots and lots of refills that they can take until forever, right? So in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're actually going to click on the expiration date here, the expiry date. And when we do that, it's going to bring up a little change refill window, okay? So if we want Kermit to have 9 refills on this formula, and we want the expiration date to be extended, say, all the way until the end of November, we can make this change. You'll also notice that the days allowed between refills is set at 0. We highly recommend that practitioners leave it set at 0. And the reason is because I've written this formula for 1 week. But let's imagine that Kermit really loves the formula, but he wants to buy 4 weeks at a time so he doesn't have to keep paying for shipping. If you have a number here in the days allowed between refills, even if it's just 1 day or 5 days, Kermit will only ever be able to order his refills spaced by the number of days here. So if you had 1, he could buy a refill today. He'd have to wait 24 hours and then he could buy another one, right? Now, some people put this in here to prevent patients from taking too much of a formula, say a purgative formula or something that they're worried about. But the truth is I think it's an easier mechanism to leave it at 0 and then control the total number of refills that you allow. So if you don't want Kermit to be able to take this formula for more than 2 weeks, you would set this at 2, right? Knowing that it's a 1-week formula, and still allow him to buy both weeks at the same time, right? Now, this is of course up to you, but I think by and large, it's easier to leave it that way. So we're going to have it at 9 refills and we're going to save it, right? Now, let's imagine for a second, and you can see here now that he's got 9. Let's imagine for a second, however, that Kermit had used 3 of the 3 refills when we were looking at the screen before. If you wanted to, say, give him 3 more refills, you would have to change on this screen, you would have to change this number from 3 if he had used 3, so 3 of 3 had been used. You would have to change this number to 6, right? An additional 3 on the same order. So if he had used 3 of 3 original refills and you change this number to 6, that would give him 3 more refills, not 6 more, right? It's going to constantly do the math between refills used and refills allowed, because what you're doing is you're changing the maximum value here. So if you've got a patient, they've been loving their formula and you want to give them more refills, don't resubmit the formula, right? Find the formula here in their patient profile, go to Manage Refill tab. When that loads up, you'll come and find the formula, whichever one it is that they've been loving. You'll come to the expiration date. You're going to click it. It's going to bring you to this expiry, change refill expiry information, and here is where you're going to change the number of allowed refills. That way there's no resubmissions, right? These will show up in the patient's account all on the same line, so that when Kermit logs into his account and he's like, oh, I need some more of that immune booster, when he looks at his refills, there's just going to be one line for immune booster and it's going to show 9 refills and how many he's used. If you submit another immune booster order, there's going to be the original order and then a second one. And if you do it again, there'll be a third one. And if they only use 2 of 3 refills before you submit the next one, they'll have 1 refill left on that order and 3 more on the new one. And it can get pretty confusing pretty quickly. A lot of our patients are not super tech adept, and so keeping this very streamlined and very simple is really important. So again, if you need to add refills to a formula for a patient who's been loving what they've got, you're going to navigate to the patient profile, manage refills, expiry date button, make the change here, and then tell the patient they can log into their patient account and they can do refills. Or if they must call, they can call the pharmacy and we can do a process order over the phone. Okay, thanks.